Hi, good evening.
What's up?
How are you guys?
Hello.
How are you
Good,
guys?
good.
I love your background, Sean.
Thank you.
Did somebody
Looks
draw
just
that?
like just like Nick, doesn't it?
It looks just like Nick. It also
Yeah.
looks just like you.
Do the-
Not
It
even-
kind of looks like, to be honest with you, like you look like a cross between like George Clooney, ready? George Clooney and you probably won't like the second one, but if you can picture the two of them combined, that's what the thing looks like.
Like
But
Nick's laughing already.
oh my god, my mind's wrong. Like he's in a lot of Quentin Tarantino films. He was in his name is he was in Dusk Till Dawn. He was the brother. The what's his name? No?
I think he looks more like a leprechaun that fell out of a tree.
Oh, it's my boo toy. Hey, Danger.
I hate you, Nick. I really do.
It is Quentin Tarantino. Oh, okay, Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
I thought we just made the movies, but yeah. But if you combine those two.
Oh yeah, he's. Yeah.
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 Anyway.
And then if you took like Mayor Munchkin and Bigfoot, you'd have Nick. We represent
Very funny.
the lollipop.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for, Taryn.
I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you. So how are you guys this evening? Welcome to Paranormal Brew. Thank you for coming on. You guys have some really cool stuff coming up, and honestly, I want to get to. Is that a documentary? The Gettysburg thing, is that a documentary, or is it just like a live video that you guys did, or not live, but a video or something you guys were filming?
It's not really a documentary. It's just more of a video.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I figured. It's still going to be awesome to me.
Yeah,
I hope so. You know what? I mean, I was there, but I have not seen the video yet. I've not watched it.
Yeah, it's basically
I cannot wait to watch it.
It's a compilation of Mike Angus from Southern Heat Paranormal. He was the one who put it all together. So it's essentially a video that he took along with direct video from the TikTok that Sean Austin was doing that night. So basically it was done so that you see everything as it happened with no cuts, no edits, none of that. It's just straight. It is what it is. So
raw footage.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, it's one of those things that it kind of had to be raw footage.
Yeah. Well, you don't really need to do any editing when you're in Gettysburg, when you're investigating someone. Right. You know what I mean? Like you might have to do some edits about like the intros and people talking in between, but the actual investigating, I don't think you really need. You don't need to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there was no planning of filming or making a video. There was none of that. It was, we were at the Gettysburg Bash and Sunday night, and Sean went over to Sean Austin, was like, hey, we found a cool spot. You want to come investigate with us? And he was like, sure. And Kayla ended up coming, and Mike came, and we were just going to hang out and investigate in the spot we found.
But it's so cool there.
And it turned out to be so much more. So
yeah, it is probably one of my most favorite spots to go to in Gettysburg. I love it. Not just paranormal wise, but also it's so relaxing. It's so chill. It's so calm. It's so quiet. Not a lot of people. Were there a lot of people that came there too while you guys were there?
No.
Zero people.
Isn't it amazing? Don't you love it?
One car on the third night.
Yep.
And it
awesome.
was somebody obviously it just went to get something and came back, but we were
It's so cool. All right, so we will get to that. I definitely want to talk about it. But how about let's talk about, I don't know who wants to start, when you guys can go, and then another one, but just give us a little bit of background about you guys and about you, where you come from, all that stuff, and we'll just get into everything.
Nick's the boss, so he can go first.
I'm the boss. I'm the boss of bosses.
Are you the boss?
Boss Carboni.
Where are you guys from?
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Just outside of Fort Wayne.
Oh, you both are from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I was waiting for you to answer, Sean. I was like, and Sean? I mean, because Nick, you just pulled out like a North Jersey Italian type thing, like I'm the boss, It's impressive. All right, go ahead. I'll shut up. You go ahead.
No, I mean, the paranormal is a funny thing, and you talk to everybody. Everybody has a unique story and how you get into the paranormal. And mine's no different. Just a different take on it. And eventually, it pulled me in. I started a group actually with my sister in 2017. We created Old World Paranormal Society, and we created it just to help people, help people like I was helped. And pay it forward. We had no idea how big the paranormal community was around the world. To be honest with you,
Right.
many years down the line, and things change. People come and go. Eventually, we added Sean. I want to say in 2019, 2020, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but around
So at this point, it was
2020,
just
I
still
think.
just you and your sister, or did you have more
No,
people involved?
we fluctuated. We had my cousin Liz is the only one that's been around since the beginning. But people come and go. We've had up to about 12 people on the team, down to two. So it just is what it is, and you move on. But we added Sean at some point because he was good at networking with his wrestling background and working with the Hero and Legends Wrestling League. And I did a show kind of like yours, the Paranormal Brew. We did kind of like a paranormal talk thing where I would research a topic every week. We would pull it up on StreamYard and have a live show, and we would talk about that, and whether it be you know ghosts, UFOs, if it be a specific religion that week we were talking about, to a book, to just about anything. And we were at DeadCon one year, I think 2021. We were at DeadCon, and Sean came up to me because I got kind of burnt out of doing the live shows and having to research everything every week and finding guests. Got kind of burnt out at it. And Sean came up with the idea. He's like, well, why don't we just do a podcast? And I just kind of looked at him like, I don't know how to do a podcast, dude. So if you want to do a podcast, you set it up. I'll bring my lovely charm to it. uh, so, so yeah, I mean, we created Old World Paranormal Podcast, and 75 episodes in, we've talked to a lot of crazy people, and it's been fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It is. I mean, what do you find the most challenging part of a podcast is?
Me personally,
Yeah.
just dealing with Sean.
True.
So-
No lies detected there.
Other than that, I mean, we pre-record it where we got flexible hours to do it.
Oh, okay. So you don't
You
do a
know,
live one every
yeah,
week.
we don't do a live one. It's a podcast that goes on like Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeart. So any of your major podcast formats, you can search Old World Paranormal Podcast. It's free. You can listen to us. I don't know. We've done quite well. We got what,
Is it hard
15,000?
to get onto the internet radio?
I don't think that's a Sean department for
Would
you.
you
There.
do just sign up for it and you just can just stream whatever you want on there?
Yeah, it's just a matter of when you're, depending on what you go through to put your podcast out there, you can select which different outlets you want to go to, and it's just a little bit of button pushing and answering some questions. The cool thing is that Amazon actually reached out to us about coming on their platform because we weren't on Amazon. So Amazon actually reached out to us and said, "Hey, we'd like to have you guys on our lineup,"
That's
and we
awesome.
did. And we were actually a featured podcast on Amazon a few weeks ago. So pretty cool how that works out.
Oh, my bestie's here. Hi, babes.
I saw Lee Allen had showed up here.
Yes. Oh, you
Yeah.
know Lee?
Love that guy.
Oh my gosh. Do you know that was my first paranormal investigation?
Uh,
I attended phenomenology. I don't even know how long ago, and I met them there, and they were assigned to one of the. I was there as a patron. I wasn't even
mm,
really involved in the paranormal yet. I was
Right.
just starting to be curious,
Mhm.
and I was there by myself. I went by myself for the weekend, and their group, Paravisions, was they were the ones that I investigated. And um, his wife is from Jersey, so we kind of connected on that level, and then we had a great investigation, and they were my first attended real investigation. It was awesome, and they did a great job. I love Lee. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, Lee was on. We filmed it Monday, so he'll be excuse me, episode 75. Lee Allen.
It went up
Oh, that's
today on all
awesome.
platforms.
Yeah, that's
April.
awesome. So, all right, where were we going with that? Sorry, ADHD, really bad.
Welcome to the
Really
club.
bad. I always give that disclaimer before I go live with people because it is bad. I like sometimes I watch shows and I wonder if people have because I'm like, if I was watching this right now, I would be like, what the fuck is this girl doing? Like she's, whatever. But anyway, so you said you guests and everything like that. So what is some of your past guests that you've had on that you've like really?
Oh, I mean, we've had
Nick
Brandon
Groff, Sean
Mustafa,
Austin,
Nick Groff, Brian and Rochelle,
Dustin
Michelle
Perry,
Belichick, Mike Ricksucker.
Do you
Mike
have a favorite
Pano.
though?
A favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, hands down, my favorite was Stephanie O'Reilly,
Oh yeah,
McIntyre Villa. She's
Oh
a
God,
hoot.
how can she not? I mean, she's amazing.
she is something else.
I'm in love with her. I told her if she lived closer to me, I would marry her.
I
would marry her.
One of the most memorable ones, and I don't know what episode it was. Her name is Sydney Hernandez, and I met her at a convention in Cleveland that Teresa and Sabrina. What is her last name?
Teresa Canizaro?
No, Sabrina. Yeah, it'll come to me. Anyways, they held a convention in Cleveland, Ohio. So I met her there. She's sitting right next to us, and this lady is just full of life. She's a hoot. But she's sitting there she's just giving tarot readings all day and this or that. So I had reached out to her. I was like, "You got to come on, and when you come on, you got to give us a live tarot reading." She's like, "Yeah, absolutely. This will be fun." Blah 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 blah. And we're interviewing her, and I don't know how it even led to this conversation. She starts talking about her aunt that passed away, and how her aunt was eaten by her pets because she had passed away for over.
They didn't have any food in the house. Poor babies.
She had been gone for like a good week. So yeah, the pets started nibbling on her. Then she goes on she was talking about some of her past jobs.
Wow, that's like deep shit. Like who?
I know.
It gets better.
Oh, but you wait for this. So she used to work at one of those like boudoir noir type stores.
Okay.
So like a sex shop.
Mm-hmm.
And she said in the back of her store there was a room, and you could go back there and rent porn DVDs.
Yeah.
And she said this older guy comes in. She said he came in all the time. He said he was about 75. She said he was back there for like 4 hours.
Oh my God.
So she's like, well, this isn't like normal. So she goes back to check on him, and he's dead on the floor.
Stop it.
And we're both like looking at each other, or Sean and I kind of like looking at each other like, what the fuck? And the first thing I can think of was 75-year-old man probably using Viagra. I instantly asked her, I said, was he still saluting? Even though he was gone.
Right.
And it just took off from there. For like the next week, all I got was text messages from people talking about a paranormal boner.
And did he carry that to the afterlife with him?
Well,
Inquiring minds want to know.
Do what?
What was the answer?
She said she didn't. She doesn't remember.
Lies. I would have totally looked.
Right.
I would have looked.
Stephanie O'Reilly would have looked.
We went out happy at least.
The guy like keeled over with his pants down to his ankles.
Yeah.
You know what he was doing back there watching the movies. So
Wow, that's so crazy. So, Sean,
Yes.
so how did you start and then get hooked up with Nick and all that stuff? I mean, I know he kind of touched on it, but
It was destiny. No. Um, no. As a kid, I had personal experience. I was about 8 years old. Um, didn't really, think about anything for years to come, but over time, I started watching some of the shows on TV. The very first show I ever watched, and still my absolute favorite to this day, was Paranormal State.
mhm.
Um,
mhm.
and I can't even remember how how I got in contact with Nick, to be honest. Um,
We put out a well, my sister and I were looking for specific people to add to the group, so we had put
oh
out
yeah,
a Facebook post,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
replied.
and
I-
so that's right. And so I answered that and talked with Nick and his sister, and they decided to bring me on board, and I've been stuck there ever since, like the
cool.
Twilight Zone. Um, but yeah, I Nick and I, the podcast, we work well together. We act like we do in real life. We just
Mhm.
want to basically punch each other in the throat repeatedly.
Pretty
Um,
much. Pretty much.
but then, when it comes to investigating and stuff like that, we have different ideas on a lot of things. Different techniques when it comes to investigating. I am not the equipment guy. I could care less if you have $5,000 worth of equipment because I'm probably not going to use any of it.
That's
Um,
me.
yeah,
I
send me
play
to a
with it. I
location
play
with
with
my
it.
phone and a flashlight, and I'm good because I got everything I need.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, not to say that there's anything wrong with the equipment. There's some cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
Austin Maynard makes some amazing stuff that I've seen, and I've seen it in action. So it's just not my go-to kind of stuff. But
I just need my
um,
recorder and my camera.
yeah,
Or like recorder my phone. And when I say camera, it's to take pictures of the location, not to try to capture a ghost. It's
Right.
for
I
me to
do
take
both.
pictures of the rooms, take pictures of the area because what's the chances, right? It's so few. Like you're not to
Slim
catch
to none.
something. I mean, come on, it's
But if
got to
there's
be
a chance, I don't want to be unprepared. But
right.
so yeah, so I've been with OWPS now for the last few years, and got a chance to learn a lot from a lot of people, meet a lot of people. I come from a background of pro wrestling. I've been
Hmm.
involved in professional wrestling for the last 13 years. And so, with that, I do a lot of the media. I do a lot of, that kind of stuff.
Like
Um,
professional wrestling, like
like
Hulk Hogan.
WWE. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
you know a lot of those people.
I do.
All right, so let me ask you something. That's like soap opera
You're
for
going to
men.
ask me if wrestling is fake?
Well, I know it's fake, but
Okay.
it's a soap opera for men, right? I
Exactly.
mean,
You hit the
and
nail right on the head.
but like, so do they all get along backstage? Are they
For the
like,
most part, yeah.
and then like, do they think like a lot of the acting, like in the skits and stuff, are ridiculous?
You do what you get paid to do.
Right.
So it really doesn't
So
matter if you like it or not.
was that drama between what's that guy McMahon? Wait, what was his name?
Vince McMahon?
Vince McMahon, and
Mhm.
like his daughter and all that stuff. I don't even know this full story. I just remember it being a big, huge thing. Was that like
Yeah.
legit?
They brought some of their real life stuff to TV, but it's not something that they really talk about. Um, but there is some slight animosity with that family. Um, but yeah, I mean, stuff like that. If it makes for good TV, then they're going to put it on TV.
Mhm.
That's
Vince
pretty
McMahon
cool.
is a billionaire. He can do whatever he
I
wants.
know it's
Right
sickening.
now, he's in some legal trouble. Has been for quite some time, but um,
Yeah,
you know, but yeah, like you said, it's a soap opera for men.
yeah.
But as far as is wrestling fake, so
Oh,
is every movie that you watch, so is every TV show that you watch. But
yeah,
the athletic ability, that's on a whole different level.
yeah.
It's a finely tuned
And you still
machine.
do that, or you used to do it?
I get in the ring every now and then, but not. I'm not like the wrestler guy.
You
Yeah.
wait
Uh,
till the midgets come out.
what? What'd you say?
I said you wait till the midgets come out, then you
Yeah, sometimes. But no, I do a lot of the behind the
little
scenes
people. I'm
stuff.
sorry. Don't send me shitty emails.
Little
I know,
people
right? It's just, and it's an accident. You don't mean
hey,
anything bad by it.
in professional wrestling, they don't mind being called midgets. So midgets, dwarfs, whatever. Um, but yeah, I do
So does
mostly
anybody in the wrestling world believe in ghost hunting? Do they know you do
absolutely,
that?
absolutely.
So they know you do that?
Yeah, when Nick and I, when we had the Bell Mansion, brought several of them there. Actually,
Oh, that's cool.
Stone Cold Steve Austin's ex-wife came by and spent some time. So yeah, a lot of them are at least interested in it. You know, at the very least. But yeah,
You could
Yeah,
do a show about that.
a lot of wrestlers, a lot of musicians we had at the Bell, including Jonathan Davis of Korn.
hmm
Oh, cool.
So
That's pretty cool.
it was a
Do you guys
unique opportunity.
do you share that stuff? Because that would be cool to watch. Like, seeing like, because like I heard Ghost Hunters did that a couple of times where they had like, celebrity pop-ins, you know what I mean? That would investigate with them. I think John Cena was one of them, but like, why don't you guys do something like that? Would you be able to do that?
depends on who the person is.
Yeah, that
You
just
know,
Oh, so what, they like to keep it like hush hush?
a lot of these
yeah.
guys, a lot of these guys that are on these wrestling shows on TV every week, to get them to come out, their schedules are so ridiculous that it's virtually impossible. But it's also not something that would be free to do.
Oh, gotcha.
Vinnie
And
Mac wants to be paid.
Still
well,
cool.
there's that, but there's also the fact that some of these celebrities, um, if they want to come to a location like that and just chill and investigate, we got to accommodate for that. We
I would
can't.
imagine though that having a guest like that would attract
hmm
people.
Yeah. So let's say Jonathan Davis of Korn. So when he came and investigated with us at the Bell, he was there about 5 or 6 hours. We were not allowed to post anything on social media
Oh wow.
until after they left.
Oh, okay.
So that's
You'd have
just so
8,000 people come into the building to try and
Right,
see
right,
it.
right,
right.
right. But could you imagine, like, if you guys had an event and you're like, Jonathan Davis from Corn is going to be investigating with us, and I'm sure they do that because they trust you guys not to tell people that they're going to be there. But
Right.
I mean, like, if they would, be open to do an event, you know what I mean? Like, people will come to like, which is fascinating to me because most of the paracons are like where places go where people investigate. It's all paranormal TV celebrities, you know what I mean? So
Right.
to have this draw with this whole different type of a crowd, you're pulling in a whole nother crowd into the paranormal world,
Mhm.
you know, which would be awesome.
Right.
It's cool to cross genres of things. Um, for instance, we had the original Michael Myers, Tony Moran, the unmasked Michael Myers per se,
What?
and that's horror, paranormal, but you're still kind of crossing genre. So you're
Yeah.
bringing in more people. Sean can relate to this. If you're wanting to do that, not just paranormal people, you're really going to have to dig deep and find their what do you call those? What's Greta or agent? There you go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like Greta and Linda and them, are agents to a lot of the paranormal, quote unquote celebrities. So finding the time of where their schedule is going to be, and if we could fit it in for them to slide over, to what we're doing, and it's a needle in a haystack.
But it's so cool, and it would be worth the work, to be honest with you. Like if somebody said I'm in love with Michael Myers,
Mhm.
hmm
right? He's my favorite. So I have like Michael Myers stuff all over. So like if you were like, oh, we got Michael Myers, the original Michael Myers coming, like I will cut my left tit off. I'm coming. You know what I mean? Like I would do whatever. Like I would be like, I'm there.
And we did have a good turnout for him too. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
it was
no,
cool to see the original Michael Myers,
for sure.
and we went
Absolutely.
on local news with him and everything. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, Jing, she's from Indonesia. I got to give her a shout out because she's watching from Indonesia. And thank you,
Hello.
Jing.
Oh wow, hello. How you doing?
Yeah, she's a famous actress out there, musician and stuff. So she's like a dedicated Paranormal Brew fan. I love her. And hopefully she'll start following you guys. She does. She's faithful like that.
There you go.
She will always like and follow and become friends with anybody I have on. And, she shares and stuff. She's great.
You said
Um,
Indonesia?
Indonesia. Yeah. So, that's so cool. So the next time something like this goes down, can you not leave me out? I will come to Indiana for it. I don't even care.
We could set something up around your neck of the woods because I know several people out that way. So,
Cool. So Gettysburg. We should do Gettysburg.
We don't mind coming back to Gettysburg.
I would totally go to Gettysburg. One of my favorite things is, taking people around Gettysburg. So I already met a team from Tennessee up there, last year.
Mhm.
And for the whole weekend, we just did all paranormal stuff all weekend long. I took them to all the spots and, we had a great time. It was fun. I was going to say, speaking of Gettysburg, but I feel like we're still but we can get into it. Gettysburg.
Yeah.
So I see Sean shared, saving the battlefield,
Saving a battlefield. Yep.
right? And right away I'm like, that's Gettysburg, so I'm like all about this. And I messaged him and I said, you want to come on the show? I want to talk about this. I was like, anything Gettysburg, I'm all about. So let's get into it. So you guys, I remember talking to you. Now at that point, did you already go out to East Calvary?
We
We
didn't
went
go
out
to
there every single night that we were there.
Well, it's right
Well,
near the hotel.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Not the first night we didn't. The first night we got in town, we didn't because we didn't
No,
know
not
about
the first night.
So where we were sitting at the bash, there was a table like 90 degrees from us. They were selling a bunch of cool little stuff. And this lady comes up and she's just chit-chatting away. She's a local. She's talking about all these spots that she's investigated. She's talking to both of us. I don't know, about a good 20 minutes. And then Sean gets up and just walks away because he's rude. But anyways, no. But she's talking about, she goes, I was trying to get out of her like, hey, where can we go to avoid all the park rangers, all that stuff? I know they close at sunset. And she goes, if you come out of the complex, you take a right, you go down to the Harley Davidson dealership, take a right, and just keep going. She said, you will run into the cavalry fields. There's nobody's ever out there. She goes, go check it out. And so we did. The first night, we went out there. It was me, Sean, and two gentlemen from Southern Heat Paranormal, Mike and Matt. And didn't know what to expect. We get out there. It was already after dark, so we couldn't really see anything. But we started investigating, started seeing things. We ended up putting a REM pod that I had built from Brad Martin, and it looks similar to the ITC ones. We put it out in the soybean field, and we come back on this side of the tree line. We're all just sitting there, just chit-chatting and talking. I'm like, wait a minute. Do you hear that? It's going off.
Oh, wow.
So we walked up to the tree line. We started asking questions and stuff like that. And we're getting interaction with it. It's going off as in replies to our questions. And we were just, both blown away. So we walk out into the soybean field to make sure nothing's touching it. There's no animal out there. And we go out there. There's nothing touching it. We're asking questions and it would not go off.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to the tree line on the other, step past the trees, start asking questions again, and the damn thing starts going off.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll talk to you, but get off my field.
You gotta be over there. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was,
now is that the first time? That's the first time you guys have been to Gettysburg?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And East Calvary is amazing. I love it there. So you're having the interaction with the equipment. And for me, I just was on a show last night and I was saying how Gettysburg you would think would be more residual, but most of the stuff I've gotten from Gettysburg has been intelligent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to me, interaction with equipment would be intelligent.
Right.
If you're, you know, again, do we really know that that's what that was? But when you get that type of reaction, question answers, it gets you intrigued and you start to think and you start to get a little bit more into it. And then you hope that all that's floating around in the air, kind of helps to manifest something else,
Correct. That first night, we were out there, what, 4 hours, Sean? Something like that.
It's hard to leave.
But, you would hear, you'd hear
Man,
wrestling.
at least.
We would hear wrestling in.
Wait a second. I don't know what's going on. What is happening? Go ahead. Keep talking.
Okay. So we would hear wrestling in the field. We would hear wrestling in the forestry behind us. We were all hearing whistling.
No, the audio is
a lot
like
of us,
not matching up to the video.
Of course, the corner of your eye, you thought maybe you'd see something, but the cool thing was the fog across the field all night.
Yeah.
So we were all very highly intrigued that first night. So, we get back to the hotel, we crash, we get back to the Gettysburg Bash the next morning. That's all we could talk about. And, it's like, well, we're going to go back out tonight. We're going to go back tonight. Okay. And night two, what's interesting is that first night we did not take one audio clip, not one EVP, nothing. We were just kind of feeling it in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, and even there, like it's like you do get lost in the space there, and and not in a bad way, but you kind of like there's so much to take in, and it's the atmosphere just kind of sucks you in a little bit,
And then the second night, we go back and investigate. Obviously, we got there before sunset, so we were able to see everything properly. See how the field was set up. We could see the tree line, see how the tree line came around, see where the farm was. I mean, just everything where all the cannons were. And so we got kind of a lay of the land. And then that night was even more interesting because we were getting EVPs. Couple of us had our shirts tugged. You heard whistling. Mike and Sean heard a guy cough or sneeze, and none of us sneezed or coughed.
Right.
What else did we have? A lot of spirit box interaction. It's just pretty much.
But those things though are common. Like I've heard that stuff. You hear people say that and different parts of the inside the park in the battlefield, if you will,
Right. But what was interesting about night two is we heard the residual cannon fire. We heard residual rifle fires.
Musket fire.
We saw a storm coming in. Okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we had all that energy pushing this way, and there was so much lightning. It's just like it was just amping up.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know. It was crazy. I mean,
and it doesn't take much there.
No, not really.
To have that added help with the atmosphere, I can't imagine how awesome it was.
You back with us, buddy?
Wait, maybe he looks like Max Headroom now, the way he's moving around.
I don't know what's going on. The audio and the video isn't matching up, and then everybody keeps blinking out. I don't know what's going on.
There you are. I don't know.
It's Miller time.
Yes. So for me, I had an experience there. I don't know if you guys went back this way, but there's a couple of spots there, East Calvary, you have where General Custer was. So there's like that one monument that sits off to the right when you first. If you go back a little further to this side, that's where like the Jeb Stuart monument, like there's that monument that has the fence around the little iron fence around
Yeah.
it. And when you go back behind that, but further back, there's a monument for Pennsylvania back there. Back there is where I have a lot of stuff happen.
Okay.
You know, I've heard cannon fire, but that was like when I was at the wheat field or something like that. But East Calvary, I actually saw a shadow thing there,
Oh, wow.
and I've never seen anything like that before or after. You know, and it's nice about that place because, like I said, nobody goes there. So you put your recorder on. You do have to keep in mind that there are farms around. Like, you know, they are far away, but they're still close enough. Like sometimes you'll hear a dog bark, you know what I mean, at one of the houses, but you know it's a dog barking. You know, there's no mistaking it. One of the houses, they have kids. So sometimes you'll hear them playing and screaming and hooting and hollering. But you know it's them because it's a continuous thing. They're outside, they're playing. You know what I mean? Like you know it's them. It's not just a one whistle, or it's not just a this over a cough, or which I've heard. I've heard that on the wheat field. I heard a cough. So Jay,
we'll see Jason Saturday.
Yeah, I love Jay.
Old Jen from Bump in the Night.
Yes, I love Jen. She was on. Yeah, she was on a couple weeks ago. I love her. She's great. Their videos are awesome on TikTok. I watched her videos.
She's amazing on TikTok.
She is. I'm like, I literally watch them and I go, I wish I was this great. Like, this is great. I don't know how she does all that, but it's awesome.
Yeah, we pretty much went out to dinner with them every night when we were in Gettysburg.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right, so you guys get to this whole. So you guys are recording all this stuff, right?
The first 2 nights, yes and no. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you said that you didn't have it the first night. You didn't.
I don't know. That wasn't really what our expectations were. I mean, you know, we went around, you know, the national park. We went and saw everything. You know, walked around the field, and you know, it was just the energy in there is just insane.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. I mean, I'm sure
it is hard to explain.
It's hard to explain, and it's like I don't even want to right there. Like I don't know. I felt really uncomfortable with it, you know, and I'm just like, I'll just let it go, and then we'll go find somewhere else, and that's what we did. And you know, it's like,
what do you mean you didn't want to what?
I didn't want to investigate there
in Gettysburg.
In the national park, like where Devil's Den is and stuff like that. Like,
well, you know, East Calvary is part of the park.
Yeah, I know.
It is. And believe me, you listen, look up Joshua Chamberlain, who was at Little Round Top, has a saying. It's my favorite saying in the world. And he talks about that, how spirits linger for those that come after us to, honor and and feel, you know what I mean, you'll feel the presence of these men, and women that fought. And he says that they'll come for decades, to keep our memory alive, and
Right.
they love that, they love it. And I think that's why I mostly get intelligent stuff, because that's what I pick up on. I know people that go there that say they pick up on the negative, like the real bad stuff, like the dying and the agony and the pain and stuff. And I feel really bad about that for those people, because the flip side of that, it's fucking amazing, where I'm picking up on the in between the fightings, where they're drinking and smoking and, having fun and talking about, and that fight, that will to go, and how they're fighting for what they believe in, that valor, and
Right.
So I think you have to, I guess it's on when you go there and what you take of it. But for me, it's special. It's a special place. And I feel like whoever's there, the spirits that are there, they want to talk. They want to.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. They, if if you're running into intelligent spirits in Gettysburg, they want to talk, and they're
Yes.
there for that. Yes, there is a shit ton of residual, and there always will be a shit ton of residual there. Think of what happened. The Earth is going to replay that constantly.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you're hearing cannon fire and like musket rifle fires, like I mean, nobody's firing a cannon off right now.
No, I know, and you know the difference. Like you
Right.
know what you're hearing. And I was at Little Round Top one time, and I heard a snare drum.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, and I'm like, I was like, that was. I'm getting chills thinking about it. I'm like, that was a snare drum. Nobody's out in the middle of the, like this was like
Right,
9:45 at night, and it was like right there. I'm like, that was a snare drum, like that was so cool. So
And during the bash, you remember when they do the parade?
yes.
So we recorded that audio of them playing, and then took that audio.
Oh, that's awesome! Yes.
And I mean, we think it worked. I mean,
Eric cues are and I learned that from watching Ghost Lab, the Kling brothers.
yeah.
They did that. And so when I go there, I mean, I did an investigation one time at it's a place called the Inn at Lincoln Square. Awesome place to stay, by the way, if you go there, because I mean, I stay in the bottom suite, and it goes to the basement, and the basement is a dirt floor. It's very old. It's pre-Civil War.
Oh wow.
The basement door is from that time when the house was built. So the doorknob, the lock, everything on it is from that time era, right? It's not just something you just turn the doorknob and you open the basement door.
Right.
Like there's a lock up top where you got to push the button down, then you got to do. So you hear this, and you're, and the basement door, it flew open so hard it hit the wall. My recorder, luckily, was right there, because you can hear all this stuff happening. You hear this, you hear, boom, and then you hear us in the other room go, the fucking basement door just flew open. That's exactly what it did, but like things like that happen there, and it's literally a paranormal investigator's candy land.
100%. 100%.
I mean, it is.
I was so geeked, one, to go to this convention, because I've heard nothing but great things about it. I was excited to go there. I was excited to go to Gettysburg for the very first time. And now I can truly say I am hooked.
Yeah.
Like we will go every year until they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I go to Gettysburg every year and investigate something different.
Yeah.
And I love history. I love architecture. I love the paranormal, and all three of them are right there.
All three of them. And it's funny because I didn't know I loved all that stuff until I went there. And really, I mean, I go there sometimes, and when I go there, sometimes I go at least once a month. That's how often I go. Sometimes I go for paranormal stuff, and then sometimes I'm there. I do my birthday bar crawl there. I go for New Year's Eve. So there's times I'm there where I'm not doing anything paranormal, and I still have an amazing time. I will still have some sort of experience, even if I'm not ghost hunting. Something happens to me, so it's fun. It's like that town that, that just, like I said, it's your candy land. It's my candy land anyway.
There he is.
We got it together?
Right. Yeah, I think so. I just switched devices. Hopefully this works.
No, now you're good.
Okay.
Not so close, dude.
So we were talking about Gettysburg still, shocker.
Yes.
Because there is. So Nick was talking about we did digress when we started talking about a lot of other stuff in Gettysburg, but he was telling a little bit about what was happening while you guys were out there for the bash.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you did have a lot of good experiences there. So when you come back next year, how are you not going to go to East Calvary?
that'll be the first stop.
Well, we'll definitely go there first. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of cool, awesome spots there. But yeah, East Calvary is one of my favorites.
we pretty much experienced everything except for seeing an actual full body apparition.
Right.
And trust me, we were driving down these roads with no lights, only headlights, trees hanging over both sides of the road.
Yeah.
And Nick and I are just hanging on the front dashboard going, please, just one time,
I know.
just something walk out in front of us.
I always say that. I'm like, please let me just see. You know, my mom, me and my mom went one time, and my mom at the time, like, I didn't want anything. I wasn't in the paranormal at this point. I went with her. She wanted to talk to a ghost, and I thought she was batshit crazy. I was like, you're nuts. And we were so there is a bed and breakfast. It's the only bed and breakfast that's located inside the park.
Okay.
Inside the battlefield, if you will. And it's called Double Day Inn, and we were staying there. So we were coming around from, one of the main roads and turning onto Double Day Ave. And now my mom at this point, like, that's all she wants to do. She wants to get haunted. She wants to get haunted by a ghost. She wants to experience something. I'm like, I'm good, So as we're coming around, she all of a sudden jumps up. She hit her head. She jumped up so high she hit her head on the top of the ceiling of my car. And she's like, oh my God. And she looked at me, and the saying, you look like you just saw a ghost, I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
She was pale. She was like you could see she was like breathing heavy. She's like, did you just see those three? They looked like Confederate soldiers. Like, they almost walked into your car, but they didn't even look at us. I saw them, but it was like they didn't see us. Like, they were almost walked into your car. And I immediately looked in my rearview mirror. I didn't see anything.
Wow.
So you only have to go up a little bit of ways to turn around. And I went up a little ways, I turn around, and as I'm turning around, I'm going around slow because I want my headlights to hit the field on that side, because that was the direction they were walking in, right? So I'm going real slow. I'm like going like this. Didn't see anything. Drive up, nothing. And she was freaking out. Now, for somebody that wanted to see something so bad, to be so, she was scared. She was scared. She was like, it took me about 10 minutes to calm her down. She's like, you didn't see it?
She definitely got haunted.
She did. She's like, you didn't see it? And I'm like, no, I didn't see it. I was like, I'm happy about it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, how come I didn't see it?
Right.
But, and she's like, they looked like they were on a mission. They were like, and it's funny because right before that happened, as we were pulling in, she's like, there's all these rangers out there in the field. What's going on? And I was like, I don't see any cars anywhere. I don't see any rangers' cars. And she goes, there's so many out there. Like, and then right away, then all of a sudden she saw these. So I'm wondering if she saw like a whole regiment out there.
Oh, most likely, probably.
You know what I mean? Because at first she thought it was park rangers, because she just saw like a whole bunch of men in the field. And it was like around 11:30 at night, 12 in the morning. So you're not allowed in the park past, at that time you were allowed in the park past 10 o'clock.
Right.
You'd be out by 10. So, but we were staying in the park, so we were allowed to drive through. But so you're not thinking there's people out there, because they would get in trouble. The park rangers drive around all night long, So she automatically thought it was park rangers that were out there. And when she saw that, I never saw anything like that. For somebody that wasn't afraid of it. I mean, she was getting out, walking into wheat field, and she's like, hello. And I'm rolling my window down. I'm like, you are one crazy bitch. Roll my window back up. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. She's like, just come out here. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't see anything, but there was a point where I felt something. I knew. I was doing an EVP at one of the tree lines there at East Cavalry, and it was to the point where we were, I don't know, maybe 20 feet from the vehicles, and it was to the point where I knew something was coming toward me, and I ran away from the tree line back to the truck. I mean, it startled me that much. Like, I fully expected to see someone walk through the trees and come right up to me. And I asked them to come up to me if you're in there, you know? So here I am possibly getting what I'm asking for. And
You're right.
I
don't blame you. It happened to me.
But I did go back to the tree line and try to do it again. But of course, if there was something there, I probably scared it off. But yeah.
Or they scared you and was like,
yeah,
oh, I'm doing that again.
Yeah. But it was a cool experience.
So you guys eventually start recording, right? And then you said, how did you wind up making this video or this film that, I don't want to say film, but like a video that you're going to put out, that I can't wait to watch?
Well, like Nick said, that third night, we were having such great experiences over the last couple of days. And, Sean Austin has abilities that are extremely unique and very, very powerful at things that he is able to do. And I thought, how neat would it be to add that element to the situation? And so when we were at the convention, I went up to him and I said, hey, we're going out tonight, and a place that we've been to the last couple nights, great activity. Would you mind coming out and hanging out with us? And he's like, yeah, sure. So, we ended up all meeting out there, and Sean, got some equipment set up and immediately got on TikTok. Mike Angus from Southern Heat Paranormal started filming on his phone. I was filming on my phone. And, it was one of those things where I was right. Bringing Sean Austin out to that place. How do I describe it? Sean is, if I was a spirit, I'd imagine that Sean looks like a bright light that can, you want to go to for help. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what we got. I mean, activity was probably double or triple what it was the previous times that we were there.
Yeah.
Just the interaction, the voices that we were getting through the equipment he was using, intelligent responses to questions that we were asking. And yeah, so, as far as that goes, it was really just all of that footage, which we wanted to present raw. We didn't want to go through and edit this and add spooky music and that's not what we do. And so that's exactly what we did. What you see is exactly what happened during that. Well, it's two hours worth of video.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
So everybody's, we have equipment everywhere. Everybody's on their phones. They're live on certain platforms. So Sean was on Facebook. I was on TikTok. Sean Austin was on TikTok. The whole 9 yards. So the cliche of the new paranormal investigators going live on social medias while you're investigating. But we decided to do an EVP burst session. Okay. And we're all sitting in a circle. And Sean pulls out the DR60. And each one of us ask a question. Now, while this is going on, I'm getting, at first, a really cold chill on my left knee. And then it felt like I'm getting electrocuted down my left calf, down to my ankle. And I'm trying not to move. I'm trying not to say anything because we're in this EVP burst. And I'm like, something is legit grabbing my leg right now. And we play the recording back. Each one of us got a reply from the question that was, we were asking in the EVP burst session. And right away, when Sean got there that night, he got out of the car. He's like, I'm seeing a little boy. He's like, and then he goes, I see a decapitated gentleman, like his head's gone. And we're just kind of looking at each other like, okay, dude. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Yeah, there's lots of decapitated men that happened back then, right?
Well, and let me preface this by saying that, we've seen Sean Austin on shows that he's been on TV. We know what his abilities, his claims are. But watching it on TV, and then you have him there in person, obviously there's a bit of skepticism.
Sure.
And so, what we're starting to witness is, I mean, it's real, so that's kind of the direction that this started going.
Yeah. And you know what, though? It literally, Gettysburg just delivers. Do you know what I'm saying? It just delivers. So if you have somebody on a higher level, you know what I mean, that can, it's not going to be a quiet night.
So we're sitting here with a group of, there's like 3 cannons, then there's a plaque. It was the North Virginia Regiment Cavalry. This is where we were at. Okay. Well, we shift our focus to the left. There's a little set of group of trees on this small tree line between the field and the road. And so we kind of shift our focus there because we're getting more intelligent responses over here. Now we're using the AI feature on TikTok, which is, before that night, I had no idea you could do this. And I was skeptical as shit with this AI on TikTok. Okay.
What is it?
So when you're live, you can do an AI feature and you tap it and it'll pull up anything that it sees in front of it. Okay. Being figures, people, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
And I'll tap into that here in a second. That kind of solidifies that.
Okay.
But we're getting period people. We're getting soldiers. We're getting people in period clothing. We're getting kids. We're getting women. So it's not just soldiers we're getting off this AI. So it's starting to pique my interest a little bit, okay? Well, he starts communicating with this woman. And we're running a spirit box the whole time, okay? And this woman, I don't even know how he led to this. But he goes, would you like to cross over? And everybody's looking at each other. And I do a lot of residential cases. I've done this before and this or that. But it piqued my interest. I'm like, all right, let me see how he handles this. So he goes into it, and he's like, he's like, here's a light, here's a door, it's opening up. He starts saying a prayer. And in the middle of a prayer, you hear a woman through the spirit box go, I see them. A minute later, you hear a woman, same tone. She goes, mother.
Oh, wow.
Then she goes, grandparents. And Sean asks her, like, do you see your loved ones? And she replies, yes, I do.
Oh, wow.
And at this point, I'm kind of like tapped out, energy drained, whatever the hell grabbed me in that EVP burst session. Like, my energy was done. I put my stuff away. I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck. So Sean and them, both Sean's, Mike and Kayla, are down there. And Sean comes up with, I don't even know why you even asked this question. So I'll let you go to it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know if I brought this up to the wrong people at one point, but I was kind of told that there's a question that you really are not supposed to ask. And I'm the kind of guy that, if there's something you're not supposed to ask, I'm not going to ask it. You know what I mean? If you're communicating with spirits, if there's stuff you're not supposed to ask, I'm not going to do it. But it's a question that I wanted to ask previously. I was told don't ask it, so I never did. But at this point, I just kind of felt compelled that maybe this was the time to do it. And so before I did, I asked Kayla, I said, I have this question that I want to ask, and I want to ask you if it's okay to do. So I told her what the question was, and she said, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was no hesitation. And so as Sean, maybe I can get this out without actually crying this time. Sean was at a point where he was going to everybody and having us ask questions. And I said, when you were in the light, did you see Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
And literally, 3-4 seconds later, you hear the words, I did. Come through crystal clear.
Same woman, same tone.
Yeah. Now, I don't classify myself as a religious guy. I believe in God. I go to church every now and then. I have my opinions of church and everything else. But it was just a question that I really wanted to ask. And
Mm-hmm.
I got the answer. And I was like, okay, cool. That was pretty awesome. So, the continuation of that story is we finish out the night. We drive back home. The next day, I finally saw my wife, and we were sitting on the couch. Well, actually, I went to my daughter's room, Hannah, and I told her what happened. And I kind of got a little teary-eyed. I was like, okay, that's weird. So then I went and I sat on the couch, and I was telling my wife, my wife does not believe any of this stuff. She thinks that all these spirits are demons. You know what I mean? She's a Christian as well, goes to church every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks that, this is all demons and bad things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling her about this experience. And when I got to the part where I was getting ready to say the words I did, I started bawling like a 2-year-old who just got spanked by his mommy. And it took me literally 10 minutes to get those 2 words out of my mouth.
Mm.
It impacted me in a way, and it took that long of a time, overnight, I think, to process that. And when I finally, talked about it, I was just an emotional wreck. And, this experience that we had with Sean changed me, and it changed the way that I look at a lot of things, especially people with abilities, and what kind of, I don't know if I want to say power, but what they possess in different fields. You know what I mean? That Sean has this ability. If there is a soul out there that is lost and wants to pass on, there are people that exist that can do that. This whole thing to me was definitive proof to me that what Sean is doing is 100% legit. Not a doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
but I think you yourself had a connection there, because, and I was just talking about this the other night, because, I had a visit dream with my dad. And when I tell people about this visit dream, anybody could say, well, you were sleeping, anyway, the emotional, I mean, to this day, when I think about it, it could make me cry, because it was just such an emotional experience and so detailed. I could feel the badge on the patch, his sergeant's patch, on his uniform and stuff. I could feel it.
Yeah.
And your reaction to that, you know what I mean? Like that automatic feeling, you know what I mean? Or you could even say I did, you know what I mean? That emotional part of it. You don't need equipment. You don't need you don't need the audio. You know what you felt. And for some reason it's so powerful. And there's more to that than just hearing the words.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
it kind of got me thinking too, like, what if there was no audio equipment there? What if we weren't able to hear this stuff? Because we were so caught up in the moment of what was going on, nothing external was really registering. So what if it was that same situation, but we didn't have any voices coming through a box? Would we have noticed a change? Would we have felt something? That's something I would love to take Sean out somewhere else and do the same thing without any spirit boxes and stuff like that.
I mean, I would still bring a recorder.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Still have something to record, but not play in real time. But yeah, I mean, it just really opened my mind up to a lot of other things. And we know this already as investigators. There is so much that we don't know.
Right.
But this experience just blew that even wider. Beyond what we don't know, there's even more that we don't know. And we won't know until we get to that point in the afterlife,
It's true.
But yeah, it was definitely, and that's why it was titled Saving a Battlefield, because, there was a point where Sean was asking for numbers, of spirits that were there, and we were getting, I want to say, was it 18 or 12 or something like that. So there were more spirits present, and whether or not more actually were able to move on, and it was just this one that we were happening to communicate with, it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting thing with East Calvary. Now, first of all, you have to remember, Gettysburg, the women, they were at some points they were nurses, even if they weren't, that wasn't their occupation, and there were also women and children that lied about their ages and their sex, and they went into battle as well. So there were women that would have been on the field. Now, granted, you have to think too, a lot of people go there thinking Civil War, but the town has been there for before and way after. You know what I mean?
Right.
So people, it doesn't necessarily have to be Civil War related. Also, the battle that took place there was an unexpected battle.
Right.
Which that's why Gettysburg amazes me the most when you think like throughout the Civil Wars, because so much stuff happened there that wasn't supposed to happen. Everything happened by chance. Even the war that happened in Gettysburg, that was by chance. I mean, it wasn't even supposed to happen. But at East Calvary, you have Jeb Stuart's guys coming. They were supposed to come around and get the Union line from the back during Pickett's charge. So Jeb Stuart's boys were supposed to be behind the Union line on July 3rd. Custer was there, and they surprised each other. They didn't know Jeb Stuart was coming. They didn't know Custer was there. They fight. Custer holds, keeps them. Custer wins that battle.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of unexpected stuff going on there.
Now, isn't it true too that at some point the Union soldiers ran out of ammunition for the cannons?
That was the cannons.
Yeah, that they ran. I had read that they
at East Calvary.
Yeah, that they ran out of ammunition and had to go and get more, and so the battle actually stopped at one point.
Isn't it amazing how they used to fight back in the day?
Yeah. Well, that's what led up to, because even in World War II, there were opposing sides that they would literally take a break fighting for like the Christmas holiday, and they'd be out playing football with with the other side.
I mean, they did it in Gettysburg. I mean, they were like called a truce so they could drink from the same spring, and like,
etiquette.
Yeah, like, hey guys, what's up? Okay. So hope I don't shoot you later. It was pneumonia, That's good. I mean,
hey bro, if you do shoot me, just shoot me in the leg.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But it is. I've never heard that. I know at Little Round Top they ran out of ammunition, and they just charged, and luckily, the Confederates either surrendered or ran, but they held the line, and they had no ammunition. So I know that happened at East Calvary. Little Round Top. So after being at Gettysburg, and it's okay if it isn't, I still love you guys. But like, what's your most favorite place you've been?
Huh.
I'm not gonna lie, Bell Mansion.
Yeah. Well, now Bell Mansion, is that like your home base? Because you guys have been talking about that a lot.
Used to be.
Okay, we don't have to. We don't
All
need
right,
to.
I'm an open book. So I got an opportunity from a mutual friend in December 19th of 2021 to investigate where somebody had just bought this building. It used to be a funeral home. It's a 130-year-old building. Brought the team out to investigate. That's when I met Angie. We struck up friendship, ended up dating for a little over 2 years. And I showed her around the paranormal field, and she got into it. So it was a matter of trying to convince her parents to let us take over the building, because I knew what they had. Eventually, we got the reins to take over the building, and Angie and I created the Bell Mansion. I created all the paranormal side, everything that's ever went down there. And unfortunately, my name was not on the business. So when we split, we got the shaft. But that is by far my favorite place, not only because I created it, but the relationship I have with the spirits there, it's like an extended family.
So you haven't been back since the split?
Nope.
No.
That sucks.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
So moving on, we're looking for another location. We're holding our own events coming up, and obviously we're traveling around to a lot of conventions and doing a lot of podcasting and stuff like that. And just it's a matter of logistics and just moving forward. But
Yeah.
to me, absolutely. If you get a chance, they're still doing it. They're still doing private investigations and everything. So if you ever get a chance, definitely go to the Bell Mansion.
Yeah. Yeah. I what sucks is like I'm on the East Coast, right? So everything seems so cool out there.
Mm.
And I have a lot of people, a lot of friends out there, and I would love to get to a McIntyre Villa for sure. And is Broadhead Manor, is that out that way?
Mm-hmm.
Broadhead Manor, I've heard about that place. There's a couple places out there, and I have friends out there. What I would love to come out that way. It would have to be. I have so much stuff like pre-planned already for next year, and it's like going out to Indiana is not driving an hour or 2 hours away.
Yeah.
I'm in Jersey, so I'm like, I'm far. So
we have. You really wouldn't think of it, but Indiana alone, man, the amount of locations we have here, Ohio as well, Illinois.
Ohio. I used to live in Ohio.
It's crazy, but that's on my radar next year is to head to Kansas. There's a few locations out there and some teams and some friends, and I definitely want to go out that way. But the East Coast,
I know you guys say we have the awesome stuff, you know what I mean? But this is like, we've done it all. We're like, okay,
you come to
over there. Yeah,
yeah.
We should have like a pay it forward or like a timeshare. You know what I mean? Like, all right, look, we'll pay for you guys to come out here. You guys pay for us to come out there. You know what I mean? It's like.
wasn't there like an old TV show called like Parent Swap or something?
Oh, yeah.
Wife Swap.
Spouse Swap or something.
Yeah, Wife Swap.
Wife Swap. Yeah, there we go.
Paranormal Location Swap.
Yeah.
That could be a thing.
Yeah, it could be a thing. You never know. That would be cool. Sign me up. You have a program. You have everybody sign up, and whoever's in that program can. It'd be cool, right? I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I just want everybody to keep in mind if you watch this video, yes, it is lengthy, but it's a brawl, and understand what's going on in the situation, and just let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And when are you guys letting the video? When's the video coming out?
It's already out.
Oh, it's out.
Came out yesterday.
I believe it was up 2 days ago.
Yeah.
If you go to Southern Heat Paranormal on YouTube. They have it up on their YouTube channel right now. Last I checked, it was around 100 views, and that was like yesterday sometime. But
Southern Heat
Paranormal. Mm-hmm. They're based down around the Atlanta area.
Georgia boys, firefighters.
Yeah, they were at the Gettysburg Convention. They were right next to us, to our left.
I didn't meet them, I don't think.
Oh, they're awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to go to their YouTube. I want to watch it.
Yeah.
You guys don't have it on yours?
I don't know.
Ours is kind of a work in progress, but yeah, I'm sure.
We don't ever pay attention to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we focus on everything else, but we really do need to do the YouTube.
Oh no, I'm gonna go check out Southern Heat Paranormal. If I'm not subscribed, I will, but definitely because I want to see it. I'm so interested because East Calvary, that's my spot. I go there during the day. Were you guys there during the day and the night, or just at night?
Yeah,
both.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go on record saying that I believe that the energy during the day is different at night, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that
Yeah.
At nighttime, I always feel more watched.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not a bad feeling. It's just like, you never feel alone during the day. It's more like you don't feel alone, but you also are like, it's just a different feeling during the day.
Yeah.
Different feeling. But I don't think you would be disappointed at either time. It would just be different. Like when I saw the shadow there, I was back by that Pennsylvania monument behind the Jeb Stuart monument, and there's the bushes that go around there. And when I was there, when this was happening, the bushes were a little smaller than what they are today. And I'm an open book too, Nick. So I'm just going to tell everybody, I'm not proud of this, but I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And so I felt terrible. So like, I'm like, I didn't know what to do, right? There's no bathroom in sight around there, and my boyfriend at the time was with me, and he's like, dude, they did it back in the day. Just go ahead, go. And I'm like, yeah, but this is so disrespectful. Like, that's all I kept thinking in my head. And he's like, just, you're fine. Like, they used to do it. I'm like, you're right. Right. So I turned my recorders off. I was like, I'm not having this on record. I have two cameras. I have a full spectrum camera on my neck. I have a Sony around my neck, and I'm at the monument, I drop drawers, and I'm like this, and and I look over and I see this shadow. Like, well, I'll be honest with you, at first I thought it was a bird because it was this black thing, and it looked like it was in the bushes, right? So I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm like, what? Like, what is that? And I'm like, how's a bird flying inside that bush? This is what's going on in my head. Now, this is like 3 seconds of thinking.
Right.
But I'm still like, how's a bird flying in those bushes? And then I realized, like, the bushes aren't moving, and it wasn't as black as what a black bird would look like or anything like that. And then it goes away. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, what the fuck was that? It didn't fly away, and it started to come to me like, oh, maybe it was somebody, maybe it was a shadow person, and I'm done peeing at this point, but I'm so like enthralled with what I just saw. I'm like, with my pants down, I'm just like, two cameras around my neck. I got nothing. Just what I saw.
That shadow creeper guy came out of the bushes because he saw you drop trowel.
Right. So then, of course,
hey, how you doing?
Oh, they're perverts now, right? And I'm like,
the battlefield was a lovely place.
It was going in and out. It was going like this, like it was like peak, and then I was like, oh, it was peaking. I'm like, you little perverts. Like,
I did the same thing. We were out there. I had to fucking piss so bad. So I go behind my truck, and I'm like peeing, and I'm like saying to my head, like, I'm so sorry I'm doing this, but I have to go.
I know. I was apologizing the whole time. Like, I'm so sorry. And then, like I said, that caught my eye. And that was like the first time I ever saw anything like that. It was unexplainable to me. Nothing flew out of the bush. You know what I mean? It was crazy. But East Calvary is definitely one of them places where it's one of my favorite spots. So I'm glad you guys were able to get there. I'm glad you guys had all the experiences you have. And I cannot wait to watch this video. For sure.
I got one more story for you real quick.
Oh my God, no. I'm not rushing you guys. Trust me.
Are you gonna tell the Smokey the Bear story?
Oh no.
Oh Lord.
We'll not forget that one. But so we meet Mike and Matt out at Devil's Den Saturday night. Mm-hmm. We went to dinner. They went to dinner. We'll meet up at Devil's Den. Okay. So we're there and we're walking around and we're just.
Wait, who was it? Who did you meet up with?
The Southern Heat boys.
Okay.
And so we're just standing in the back of my truck. We're just chit-chatting. Okay. And this really tall, older gentleman out of nowhere just comes walking up. I don't even know what the initial question was. But I'm like, all right, this guy seems interesting. He's got a little Brooklyn accent, and you can just tell. And he's wearing a firefighters t-shirt. Okay. Well, so was Mike. Well, Mike and Matt are both firefighters. Well, he's getting ready to walk away, and he notices Mike's T-shirt, so that piques his interest. They start talking about firefighting. He's like, "Yeah, I'm with engine, blah blah blah, with Brooklyn, blah blah blah." And he's just going on, and me and Sean are just like standing there, like I can listen to this guy talk for hours,
right? Because of the accent, right?
Yeah,
that's how April is. April is my April. She's got that Italian up north accent, But go ahead. I know what you mean.
And so he's talking about his whole family, generational firefighters in New York and how their engine house is. I mean, they're just going about it. And I'm standing there leaning on my truck, smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, this guy's in his 60s, late 60s. He's retired. Okay. So 2001, that puts him in his prime. He's in his 40s. Do I ask this gentleman this question? And I'm going through my head like, the angel devil on your shoulder.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Do I ask this guy this question? And then I finally come to the point, like, how many opportunities am I going to run across a firefighter from New York that was at 9/11?
Yeah.
So I said, I'm sorry, sir. I said, I hate to ask this question, but I got to ask you this question. I said, were you, I didn't say 9/11. I said, were you there? And his face instantly went white and he dropped like this. And then he raised up and he just started rambling off dudes' names. We lost so-and-so. We lost Bobby. We lost Frankie. We lost this. We lost that.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, he goes, I wasn't there initially. I showed up afterwards. But I will not get this out of my head. So the firefighters, I don't know what it's called, but there's a buzzer.
Yes.
In their jacket.
Yeah.
Okay.
That they push to be found in rubble. Yeah.
Correct. And it never dawned on me. He said the sound of hundreds of those things beeping so loud until the battery died.
Yep.
Because there were so many firefighters in that rubble that they couldn't get to that were already dead. I was just like, I didn't know what to say.
Right. I can't even imagine. Like the 9/11 museum was the hardest thing I had to get through. It literally took me 4 hours, and you go through every emotion. You go through grieving, even though you didn't know anybody, you felt like you know everybody. You grieve, you get angry again, you're pissed off, you just want to go and drop a nuclear bomb. I kept saying that. I'm like, just drop a nuclear bomb over there. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Angry all over again. And so talking to somebody like that, I can't imagine. I would have been crying.
Sean, do you remember the initial question the guy came up to ask us?
No, I think right away he noticed Mike's shirt. And that's kind of why he walked over this way, or walked over that way.
So did he live in Gettysburg, or he was there visiting?
They were there visiting.
That's another part of the story.
Here's the more ironic thing.
Okay.
So he's getting ready to leave, and he goes, well, what are you guys? I mean, you guys here visiting? We said, well, we're here at a paranormal convention. He goes, my buddy that's with me, his brother-in-law?
Something like that.
Something like that. Is a paranormal investigator, and he has a table at the convention.
Oh wow!
I'm like, what are the fucking odds of this shit? Like,
yeah, right. No, that's awesome. So they were just there visiting.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's incredible. And that's the thing about Gettysburg. Like, you can walk around and you just start talking to people. There's people from all over the place, all over the Alaska, Hawaii, Australia. I mean, they come from everywhere. Gettysburg's the heartbeat of our nation, in my opinion. So when you're there, just that alone, that I'm a very patriotic person. So the patriotism in Gettysburg is amazing to me.
Absolutely.
And I think it does. I think it lingers, like Joshua Chamberlain says. You have to look that quote up. And you won't feel bad investigating because it's. I think they want to communicate. with us. I think they want to tell their stories. I think they want us to know that they're there. And you know what else? I think they love
there's something about the main battlefield where Devil's Den was, and I don't know. Like, what my first question was when we pulled in there and we got out to take pictures? I looked at Sean. I said, "Why here?"
They don't even know why.
Like, why? Like, what is the strategics of this location that made it important to have a battle right here?
Mm-hmm.
They initially were there. They went there for supplies. They had no idea. The Confederacy was going there to get supplies. They had no idea the Union was. They met by accident. It happened by accident. I think about that. I'm like, where would Gettysburg be right now if it never happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many things happened there by accident, by chance. That was the turning point of the Civil War. Better started to lose after that point.
Right.
There's so many things that come from Gettysburg that, is just fascinating in itself. If you believe in fate, if you believe in, things are meant to be, who knows? I mean, the whole place is just, Gettysburg could be one, for lack of better description, because I don't really believe in portals, if you will, but for lack of better description, Gettysburg could be like a huge portal, Skinwalker Ranch type of a place, but without all the cryptids and stuff. It's just a paranormal.
It's quite possible.
You never know. I mean, there's ley lines there. I mean, you think about just all of the 50,000 casualties in 2 days. That's a lot.
That's a huge energy imprint to the earth right there.
Not only that, but it didn't just disappear on the fourth day.
Right.
The people in the town had to. I mean, it took weeks to bury all the dead. It took weeks to burn all the horses. It took weeks to get rid of all the aftermath and all. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there were not second story, but bigger, taller than me, taller than people, like with limbs that had to get cut off. I mean, the stuff that happened there, it was immense, and it went on for months, and you think that didn't leave an impression?
Right.
All of that didn't leave an impression.
Yeah. You guys want to put 50,000 people in perspective that died in 3 days. Think about going to your NFL football stadium, and every single person in that stadium is going to die within 3 days.
Yeah.
That, if you want to put it in perspective.
In the same place.
Same place.
Same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And that's just the people. I mean, there was horses, there were mascots, there was, I mean, and people just didn't die from getting a cannon shot. I mean, there were men that were shot during the day in the peach orchard, that, laid there because during the day they couldn't go get their wounded. They had to wait for nightfall.
Right.
They had to wait for that day's battle to be over. So they had to wait for nightfall to go get their wounded. But meanwhile, they're laying there and there's wild hogs that are hungry. So, there was men that drowned because back in the creek bed behind Steinmore Ave, there was a battle back there and there was men that drowned in the creek bed. There was other ways that these men died,
right.
and you think like still 3 days, all this smashed in, I mean, it's incredible. And I think it's the best place in the universe. But my opinion is biased. So
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that.
Yeah, it really
it's definitely, like I said at the beginning, I'm hooked, and I plan on making many trips to Gettysburg.
You should. And the next time, I would love to join you guys. I would love to investigate with you guys and come out and, and show you guys around. There's like a lot of places that, you know, aside from Devil's Den, the less taken paths where, and now they're starting to open up a lot of the farmhouses in the park. The Bushman Farm house is one of them. During the winter, it's $250 a night. You have to stay 3 nights, but it sleeps like 10 to 15 people.
Sold. Let's go.
During the summer, it's $350 a night. You have to stay 3 nights, but you're in the middle of the freaking battle. You're like in the middle. There's no lights. There's no street lights. There's no nothing, and you're in the middle of the battlefield. You could just sit on the front porch and ghost hunt.
Yeah, we definitely could have used a couple more days out there for sure.
Yeah, you need
as soon as Pam releases the date for next year's bash, I'm gonna start planning. So maybe we'll get a hold of you and book somewhere cool instead of the haunted Days Inn.
Yeah. No, definitely. And then if you guys go back out, just let me know. I'll come with, and we can go check out some spots because there's a lot there.
Oh, I'm sure there. I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface.
No.
We were trying to take in as much as we could in 4 days.
I hear you. And Gettysburg, unfortunately, Gettysburg is one of the places where if I lived in another country, or if I lived in Vegas or California, if I were to go to Gettysburg, I'd be like, okay, this has got to be, it's comparable to me knowing I go once a month. I still learn shit every time I go. Right. You know what I mean? So Gettysburg would be one of those places like, okay, I'm only going to get there once. I got to go for like 10, 15 days. I got to go for 2 weeks because there's so much. Not only that, I went out there one day for 10 days by myself, and I had a lot of time. Antietam is 45 minutes. Harper's Ferry is 45 minutes. There's all these other places around Gettysburg. Of course, it took me, half of a day to do the other two because I couldn't wait to get back to Gettysburg. But they were still cool places to be able to go and see, But Gettysburg is fantastic. So I'm excited. I'm actually going to watch your video tomorrow when I'm driving up north, where I have a long drive. So I'm going to watch it. I can't wait to watch it. And
let us know what you think.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing Gettysburg with everybody.
Of course.
For sure.
Until next year.
Yeah, until next year. Well, hopefully not. Maybe you
can say or sooner. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I
didn't win the $1 billion lottery last night, so it's not happening right now.
Yeah, somebody in Florida won it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
L&M.
L&M Paranormal, those guys are awesome too.
Gettysburg and Waverly Hills are definitely our 2 places to get to. Well, if you guys ever get, like I said, look me up, and I will be your tour guide for Gettysburg. Your paranormal journey tour guide for Gettysburg. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And I will definitely promote the video. I'll share it on Paranormal Brew and all the other pages I manage and admin and I'm a part of. I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's been a great show. And next time you're in Gettysburg, please bring me.
Absolutely, we will.
Yes, for sure.
I love you both. You guys are great. And keep in touch. And I'll see you soon.
For sure.
Thank you so much. We had fun. And
oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Really quick. Just where you guys going to be? What you guys doing? Where you guys investigating? Just give a quick little plug where people can find you guys.
Yeah, I can run through that real quick. Obviously, Old World Paranormal Podcast is on all major podcast formats. Facebook, Old World Paranormal Society, or our personal pages. Instagram's the same. TikTok, Old World Paranormal Society. Just remember, it's OLDE as in old. We'll be in the Hannah House convention this Saturday, the one Jason Snyder is running.
I just shared that on the Brew, that flyer.
Mm-hmm. We'll be there this Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to West Virginia Paracon yet or not, at the beginning of September. But we're going to try to make the Hope Paracon, and then Fort Wayne Paracon was right after that. And then there's one Haunted YMCA Paracon in Illinois. And then now we're working on some events, but they're not 100% ready to be shared. So
that's fine. Well, maybe you can come back on the brew when you can share them, and we can talk about all
absolutely.
that.
We're excited. We're just excited to move, get things moving forward, and hopefully next year, we'll add a location of our own, and I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, you got my support.
We
So,
appreciate you. Seriously, we do.
yeah, you got my support. I love what you guys are doing. Keep doing it. And the podcast, I wish you guys nothing but the best. I'm happy you guys have it. Please go check their podcast out. And I'll have you guys back on again. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, I'll see you. Bye, guys.
Thanks.